Thank you for joining Christine Crockett Smith as she shares insights and parenting strategies from her gold medal winning book, 18 Master Values, Be the Parent You Wish You'd Had, a great resource for peaceful parent-child relationships.
Smith, and I am live here on Facebook to share with you guys some things about my book and about me and about what I do and about how I can hopefully possibly help you. Welcome to the introductory episode. I'm here at Real News Communication Network, and I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful for these people and Anna Xavier, who's my producer. And I hope that you will enjoy this next 30 minutes and that you'll look forward to joining us hopefully in the future. I'm going to talk just a little bit today about who I am and why I'm even here and why I wrote the book and why I think it's really important and all of those kinds of things. This is going to be live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, and then it'll rest forever on those same platforms. So today is going to be a little different than going forward, but I'll tell you how it's going to be going forward throughout the episode. I'm going to start by just introducing myself. For any of you who don't know me, haven't ever heard of me, I am Christine Crockett Smith, and I am an author. That's one of the things that I do. I did write the book, 18 Master Values, Be the Parent You Wish You'd Had. And I do think it's a really important book. I hope that it will help parents be better parents and raise better children. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. I'm also a mother. I have 3 children. They are all grown. I'm absolutely certain that they would give you 3 really different stories of what kind of a mother I was. I did my best, and I think that's all we can do. And that's all you can do. But if you feel currently that your best isn't good enough, then maybe me or this community can help you do a little bit better. So I'm a mother of 3. I also have a granddaughter, Shayla, who's 2 and who's amazing. And if you have that ahead of you being a grandparent, then good for you, because it's the best thing ever. I'm also what I call a spiritual seeker. And here's what I mean by that. I started my spiritual journey, I guess, I don't know, I guess we all start when we're born, but in 2nd grade, I had somebody on the playground mention something about God. I had not been raised with a lot of religion up to that point, and I asked my mom about it. I went home and asked her, and her answer was, you know what, Christy, because that's who I was at the time, I don't know. She said, I don't know. I've read a lot of things about Judaism and Christianity and Zen Buddhism and a lot of things, and I just don't know. You're going to figure it out on your own. And for me, that was one of the biggest gifts she gave me, because she didn't put me in some box that I had to then fight out of and figure out what the truth was. So I kind of floated through life, and I was an atheist actually for a while. I just, a lot of things that I had heard about this all-powerful God didn't make sense to me. So I assumed that none of it was true. And I floated through life like that for a while. And then I got pregnant. And as all of those little cells inside of me divided and became a human, and they decided how to be a heart and lungs and blood and bones, I knew that that wasn't an accident. And shortly after that, I started my own journey. And I'll talk more about that later, but I do call myself a spiritual seeker. I don't subscribe to any particular wisdom, tradition, or religion, but I do believe that something out there exists that's helping us along our path. I also raise consciousness. What the hell does that mean, you might be wondering? Well, as humans, it seems like, there are a lot of ways to go through life, but there are 2 distinct ones, and one's unconscious and one's conscious. And unconscious people are just kind of falling forward. They're just kind of doing the next step and letting life dictate to them what their life's going to be like, instead of consciously deciding, hey, this is the life I want to live. This is what I want out of this one human life. This is who I want to be, and figuring out how to make sure that happens. I try to help people who maybe seem like they have it all and they don't. Maybe they're miserable and unhappy. I help them figure out why, and help them figure out what happened in their past that might be keeping them from being what they want to be, and how to figure out how to be better and do better. One thing I did, I hosted a conference in March called The Power of One. The subtitle was Encouraging Conscious Living by Celebrating Those Who Are Living Consciously. And everybody on the stage does just that. I determined for myself that we all should use our time, talent, money, gifts, and energy to make the world a better place. I think that's why we're here. And to me, that is the power of one. When you decide to do that, you can truly change the world by changing every interaction that you have. And so that's part of how I raise consciousness. But today and on this show going forward, what we're going to be talking about is, as a parent, how you can do that, first of all, with yourself, so that you then hand it on to your kids, hopefully. I wrote the book, 18 Master Values, Be the Parent You Wish You'd Had, not just to be a book. It is a book, and you can read it and learn a lot from it. In fact, I have been completely blown away. Parenting is actually in the title. It was written as a parenting book. But the book has laid on some coffee tables of some friends, and also some friends of my kids who are all in their 20s and 30s. Some of their friends have gotten a hold of it, and some grandparents. And guys, what I'm hearing is there's just a lot of life wisdom in it that's useful. Some of the younger people who don't even have kids have said to me that it's made them think about what their values are and determining what they are now before they even have kids, so they can kind of settle into that and start living their lives that way, so it becomes natural when they have kids. And then some grandparents have said, wow, I wish I'd known all this. I didn't, and I did the best I could, but I can pass it on to my kids and I can help them. And as you all know, we don't listen to our parents. We hear that Charlie Brown voice. Rah, 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 rah. So to be able to hand them a book and say, hey, here's some wisdom that you might find interesting is helpful. But so the gamut of people that it served has blown my mind. My editor actually said that her children are better because she knows me. And that kind of blew my mind. And then I was telling a 22-year-old friend that she had said that. And she said, Christine, my kids are better off because I met you. And she doesn't even have kids. And that kind of blew my mind too. Made me cry. I cry a lot. If I cry in the show, just go with it, because I cry a lot. But it's always happy tears. It's always just completely filled with gratitude for life and all the gifts I've been given. So it is a book. But it's more than that. For me, it's a movement. For me, we are all so isolated more and more by our phones and our computers. And my God, the possibilities that are out there on television. Anyway, we all got to get together and come together and spend time together face to face and help support each other being parents. So I want to help you guys do that. And I believe that when we become adults, we have a responsibility to take the time to figure out what happened in our past. What were we taught that is dissonant and doesn't seem to work, and what resonates, and decide who we are and what our values are. I also believe that our kids came here on their own journeys. I feel like they came here to do what they came here to do, and we're not supposed to try to fit them in some box. And I think that a lot of our issues come from us trying to fit kids in boxes they don't fit in. So this show is going to be a dialogue. I'm going to have some guests. We're going to talk about strategies for struggling parents, how to have a more peaceful home, how to raise functioning adult humans. Hopefully that you won't layer on things that are going to keep them from being everything they have to be, so that they spend the first 20 years of their adult lives excavating all the crap before they can be who they came here to be. I hope to help people do a better job of that. And what can you do? Watch the show, listen, tell other people about it, ask questions, share what works for you in your parenting journey that might help others. As you know, like they told us in school, there's no such thing as a stupid question. There's also no such thing as a stupid strategy. Everything doesn't work for everyone. The first line of my book is no one should ever write a parenting book, because they are all different. However, we can share what worked for us. That's what I'm here to do, because some of the things that worked for me hopefully will help you. And then in the community, share things that have worked for you. And that's how we're all going to come together. And I'm going to tell you later about some ways that I can help you. I was raised by two young parents. They were young. They had 3 little kids before they were just in their early 20s, and it was a struggle. And they got divorced when I was little, and they were busy, and I was neglected. And interestingly, I have told that story, I was neglected. I didn't have anybody there. I didn't have good role models. And every time I've told it in the past, it's been like, poor me. That's why I had to work hard to try to do better. But I heard an interesting thing a couple weeks ago. Lin-Manuel Miranda was in an interview with Oprah, and she asked him what the biggest gifts were that his parents gave him, and one of them was neglect. He acknowledged that it was neglect that made him go inside his own head and have time to think and figure out how he wanted to be in the world. And it shifted everything for me. I have no regrets. I have struggled. I've had darkness. I should not even be here. If there was a camera following me around as a teenager, there were so many opportunities for me to leave the planet. I think I must have had angels looking out for me, but I have no regrets because it all served. And that's one thing I want to help you guys get to, that no matter what happened in your past, you can leave it back there. And I have no regrets. Well, maybe I could say that I do regret pretty much every single elementary school photo I ever had taken. But besides that, I'm pretty good. So how did this book come to be? Well, I had my kids. I didn't know how to parent. I had read a lot of books because I'm a reader. But on a day-to-day, minute-to-minute basis, I did not know what I wanted to do or how to do it. And I came across a phrase: discipline is teaching. Sounds so simple. It's just 3 words, but it changed everything for me because I had watched people throw out random punishments. I'd read a lot of books about things to do to control your kids, and it just shifted everything for me. It made me realize if my kids do something I wish they hadn't done, my job is to help them figure out what they should do instead. So that made me think, well, then what do I want to teach them? And I started thinking, what do you need to know when you become an adult? Things that I wished I had learned and hadn't had to learn the hard way. And I just started a list, and I started reading and watching and asking and paid really close attention to people that I thought were doing it well. And the values list just started growing. And when it got to 18, kind of everything I read for a while after that fit under one of them. So I just left it there at 18 and kind of tucked it away and went on and lived my life. The title, Be the Parent You Wish You'd Had, it can sound so actually insulting to some people. Some people start questioning their own parenting when they read that. It wasn't meant to be that. It was meant to just make you think, what did my parents do that I wish they hadn't? How do I wish they'd done it better? And then apply that to your own parenting. I tucked that list of values in the back of my Franklin planner. I'm old school, and I still carry around my old calendar, my old paper calendar. But I wrote them, tucked them in the back, and in 2014, my marriage ended, and literally, they fell out of the Franklin planner, opened up, it felt like it was in slow motion, kind of floated to the ground, and I heard a voice almost. It's weird. It's like not in words, but if that's ever happened to you, you know what I mean. And it said it's time to share them. And that became what I knew was the next most important thing for me to do, was to write this book. And it's not easy. If you've ever written a book, I had writing coaches, I had spiritual mentors during that time as I was growing, trying to figure out who I was. I went to Bali for 6 weeks, which is where I ultimately ended up writing the major draft of what ended up being the book. There's editors and designers and to get it to the printers and, so much involved that it actually ended up taking 4 years. I did not get it into my hands until earlier this year in 2018, and I'm really proud of it. Everybody who came on board did a really great job with the interior design, and I'm really proud of the book, definitely the contents as well. So what are the values? The 18 values that are in this book, I'm just going to read them. We're going to talk about them over the next 10 weeks. So I'm just going to read the list of them for you to be kind of thinking about for yourself how you feel about it, how they land, and what you think you might want to add to the list. But my 18 that are in the book are love, positive attitude, work ethic, integrity, gratitude, curiosity, self-control, creativity, a sense of service, financial acumen, confidence, social skills, pride, fortitude. And there are a few others. Those are my 18. I am not claiming in the book that they have to be yours. My main goal is to get you to start thinking about what yours are, because decision making is easier when you're making it from a values basis. And it's much easier to defend your decisions when somebody comes at you and they're saying, oh, you shouldn't do that, you should do it this way. When you really thought it through and you're able to defend it, it's much easier to stay the course and do what you decided to do for your kids and your family. My goal with this show and with the book and with any other programming that I'm doing is to raise consciousness. I've mentioned that, just to make people more aware of their space in the world, of how they're interacting with other people, that every thought they have, every word they speak, every action they take affects not only their own lives, but their children's lives for sure, and the lives of everyone around them. Another one of my goals is to diminish suffering of children. If you're listening to this, I'm pretty sure there was a time in your life as a kid when there were adults who made you feel less than or unworthy or incapable. And I hope to empower parents to understand how to let kids be kids and let them be themselves and have a peaceful home, and to be confident as parents, to have well thought out courses of action that help their children be who they came here to be and help them feel really good about it. I personally believe that a lot of our mental health issues, a lot of our drug and alcohol addiction, even our suicide ideation, which is just getting higher and higher, comes from kids who are not allowed to be who they came here to be. I think we put them in boxes that we or society has decided they should fit in, and as a lot of you listening know, that feels really horrible, and it ends up being something that you have to figure out as an adult or not, and you end up passing it on to your kids, that angst and worry and fear. There are a lot of things that we are going to cover over the next few weeks. One of them is that children learn what they live. That's so important, guys. You can't be saying one thing and doing another and expecting your kids to listen to what you're saying. You've got to pay attention to how you're conducting your life and who you're spending time with and what you're choosing to put your time towards, what you choose to spend your money on. All of those things are going to impact who your children become. We are also going to be talking about, if you want your children to be happy, spend more time teaching them joy by embodying it. Guys, I don't know what happened or when this happened, but somehow in the United States of America, I'm not sure how it is in other countries, but we have decided that the busier you are and the more stressed out you are, the more successful you are considered. It's become the norm to talk about how tough things are. And I personally don't believe that's why we came here. I think we came here to be happy and to live great lives, fulfilled, rich lives. And then there's Amy Poehler. There's power in looking silly and not caring that you do. I love that, guys. You know, there's a lot of research out there about play and the power of play and how often kids play versus how often adults play. And it's really important to lighten up a little bit, especially when you're with your kids, but honestly, all day long. All day long. We are also going to be talking about emotions and how it's so important to not make our children think they're not supposed to show their emotions. In my opinion, emotions are energy flowing through us, and the sooner we let them out, the sooner they can go on and do whatever they're supposed to do. We've got to stop telling our boys they can't cry. Have to do that. Yeah, so those are a few of the things we're going to be talking about. We're also going to be talking about all the values. The format of this show is going to be, we're going to be live 1 o'clock on Thursdays. And the cool part about staying tuned live is that you can actually submit questions and we'll actually answer them. We're not going to do that in this episode just because it's just the introduction and kind of sharing with you how things are going to go. But we will be live on Thursdays for the foreseeable future, and we'll be live on Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitter. And then afterwards, those episodes will live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, so you can go back and look at them. You just can't interact. Yeah, so that's what we'll be doing. You can also catch us if audio is your preference. You can catch us on any of the podcast platforms. And be in touch, be a part of it. My main goal is for you guys to find each other and start building tribes, preferably in person, but even online. So be in touch if you'd like to be a guest, or if you know of anyone who would want to be a guest, or if you'd like to sponsor one of the episodes. As you know, nothing is free, and we would love to give some airtime to other conscious businesses that are perhaps in the parenting field. And so reach out if you have any interest in that, or if you know of someone who might. Questions, comments, let us know how we're doing. Let me know how I can make it better or how I can serve you. I'm here to serve you. I am not here just to put a headset on and spend 30 minutes a week in front of the camera. I'm here to try to make your life better. So interact. You can catch me at CCS at 18mastervalues.com. You can also check me out at ChristineCrockettSmith.com. There's a lot about who I am and what I believe there. If you want to know more about that, there's also information about how you can work with me. The book, of course, you can buy the book. You can buy it singularly or in bulk. Sure, it's on Amazon. Yes, it is. But not just for my book, but for any other book. If you can buy it from the person's site or from the person one-on-one, mine's 18mastervalues.com. Everybody wins. Just trust me. Everybody wins. Amazon has plenty of business without needing you to buy the book there. But actually, I know it's easy and you can just one click. So if that's what works, then do that too. And that's all I have for you this week. I am so grateful to be here and to be with you. And I so look forward to the next 9 weeks, 10 weeks, however long we go, sharing 18 Master Values, helping you become the parent that you wish you'd had. And I will catch you next time. Thanks so much for showing up.